Welcome back, glutton fans, eating fans across the world. This is El Toro, and I'm with the Madame of Etiquette, Carlene Lefevre, and Rich the Locust Lefevre. Now, what you did witness was real. I had a temper tantrum because Rich beat me, and I was really expecting to destroy him in watermelon. What are you laughing at?
I'm laughing at it. You did very well, though, Toro.
Yeah.
You really did.
And I witnessed it.
Yeah, you did a great job.
Everybody, Rich is now on MySpace. I want to make that announcement. So you can request him as a friend, go to my profile page to find him. Now, Carlene, what's it, it's good to have you on the show.
Thank you.
You're like the least person anybody would ever think would be on Beautiful Brian's corner of anybody.
Yeah, I've known Beautiful Brian for a while, and I first met him.
Bitter Brian.
No, I'll call him Beautiful Brian. But when I first met him, I thought he was a very nice man. He was very sweet, and he said positive things about Rich.
Well, I mean, you heard what he said on the podcast.
Well, yes, I did. But, I have to say that I remember when I was in the watermelon, I had the pleasure of being in a contest and eating next to Beautiful Brian, and I ate 9.8 pounds.
Man.
And I have to say, Brian was very sweet. When he was finished eating, he rooted me on, and I really appreciated that. Mm-hmm. And so then later on the websites, I noticed Brian was saying things that really were not as positive as he used to say, and he was saying a few things about Rich that kind of turned me off. And so when I hear that I turned my back on him and walked away, I guess I'm not as nonchalant as I think I am, because, even if I am upset with somebody, I never want to hurt anybody's feelings. So I thought I was being rather nonchalant when I just sort of turned my shoulder and pretended like I didn't see him.
Oh, okay.
Because I didn't want to hurt his feelings, even though I was a little unhappy about a few things he said.
Yeah. Well, I think that's just nature. Everybody gets upset with people at some point. It's not a perfect world.
Well,
but at the end of the day, everybody, nobody hates somebody.
No.
Or hates, it's not about that.
Like I have one competitive eater that I'm not the best friends with, whose name shall remain nameless, but I don't hate him. I figure he just doesn't know better and can't help himself. Even though he's 40, he's still not a Southern gentleman. And I even tattled to his mother.
But we won't name names, though. Huh?
Well, I tattled to his mother. Atlanta men are Southern gentlemen, but not this one. And I even tattled about him on his mother.
So, tell me, how did it feel when you beat Rich in Pozole? That was the first time you beat him,
well,
wasn't it?
That's another thing I'm unhappy with now that you bring it up. I want everybody to know that that was a bona fide contest, and I beat Rich. I even beat him. We had a 1-minute practice in our room because we had never tasted pozole.
What did you think of it?
Well,
didn't it taste like antifreeze or something?
It tasted like it tasted like your radiator boiled dry. That's what it tasted like. But then a couple of years later, I had pozole, and it was yummy. Mm-hmm. So the pozole in my contest had big chunks of dry meat. I'm not sure what kind of meat it was, but I inhaled it. I can still remember to this day inhaling it. And poor Rich, I jumped off to a start, and he just could not catch up. And people are saying he let me win, and that really upsets me because I won fairly and squarely.
She did. She honestly did.
Listen,
was that the
I'm not going to let
time
her
you
beat me.
Yeah, listen, if Rich's mother were on the railroad tracks, he would do his contest before rescuing his own mother. Because Rich is so competitive, he's not going to let anybody win.
People were. How did you know people were saying that he let you win? You heard him say it, or you read it?
It was intimated on the internet.
Really? Yeah. I mean, because nobody lets anybody win nowadays. I don't know why they would do it even back then. You're going to be nice.
There aren't any husbands and wives in contests. And I know Rich is very nice to me, and he does a lot of wonderful things. But no way would he let me have a title.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean that goes for every. People are just competitive by nature, so these fighters that throw fights, they do it for like millions of dollars.
And I have another bone to pick. Is it all right if I talk about it?
Absolutely.
It's not
you
with
can say
Toro.
whatever you want.
Toro,
This is Beautiful Brian's Corner,
wonderful.
West Coast edition.
All right,
this is my house. You can scream, yell, throw a fit, do whatever you want. I don't care.
I'm not
This
a
is,
Toro.
I'm the boss of this house. Anything goes.
Okay, my other bone is this. I did write a little note on the internet, but somebody said that there are 2 women that have made an impact on competitive eating. What am I, chopped liver? I wasn't even mentioned.
You were the first to ever show up on the scene.
Yeah, I know I'm 100. I was in the back covered wagon days. But all I know is I was number 7 for 3 years in a row. I was in Coney Island for 3 years in a row. I finished 7th. That shows I did my very best, because Rich always told me, if you don't feel like your knees are ready to buckle and you're ready to hit the ground at the end of a contest, you didn't do your best. And that's the way I felt every time. I'm the Pasoli champion for 1 year. I would have a lot more titles, except Rich finishes first and I finished second. So this person that says only 2 women have made, he forgot me, and he also forgot the lady in Japan, Akasaka. He also forgot her. But of course, being the selfish person that I am, I care more about myself being forgotten.
You're the madam of etiquette.
Exactly, and I'm surprised at this person, and he's a very nice man, and I like him, and I did write a rebuttal, and the next time I see him, I will hand him my rebuttal on paper.
Well, yeah, you have every right to.
It was an oversight. I'm sure he forgot. He had a lapse of memory.
Yeah, I'm sure that's all it was. The funny thing is, every time Rich asked me, or Carlene asked me, how did you do in the contest, Toro? And I tell her my number, she starts laughing. She says, I would have beat you, Toro. And it just tickles her that she knows that she's still a good eater and she'd smoke me, you know. Yeah. I'm in it more for the fun, and of course, I think everybody knows that.
Oh, you should have fun. That's the most important.
That's what it's all about, really.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the guy that pukes at the contest and makes everybody, like, go, ugh.
But that's good TV.
Yeah, it is. People want to see that. They just don't say they do. Yeah, it's part of the sport.
That's like when you pass a wreck in the street and you look. You don't want to see bad things, but you look anyway.
Yeah, it doesn't take much for me to feel like I'm going to pop.
But that's what it's all about, having fun. And,
yeah.
And you do, and I do, and Carlene did.
That's why more than half the eaters are on the circuit, for one thing, because they ain't making no money going against these, you know, eating giants of the sport.
You just try to do the best you can, and just be happy with that.
That's it.
And all the fun we've had in the years we've met. Look, we've met you. We've been on TV shows. All the people we've met in competitive eating. All the celebrities we've met.
All the traveling you've done.
And lots of it was comped. So with limos to pick you up, I can't complain.
Treated like Hollywood.
That's right.
Treated like Hollywood.
That's right.
Exactly.
Jay Leno's show, The View. I mean,
it's called Big Fish in Little Pond.
You've probably done you're probably in the top 5 for media in the whole circuit. You've received more. I mean, how many radio interviews did you do after your jalapeno title?
I've done, I did about 9 or 10 for...
9 or just for that one title?
Yeah, just for that one title, yeah.
Now, did you have translators? Because people were calling you from Mexico, right? Because that's where, like...
Well, yeah, one did from Mexico, and there was a translator. And then I noticed a couple of newspaper articles from Mexico, too.
Yeah.
And that was from Colombia. I mean, there were like 9 different countries throughout the world that had articles about that one contest. So that got a lot of coverage. Yeah, at least in the media, in print it did.
Did that get, was that the most coverage you received from your titles?
I think so.
Titles?
And another one that got a lot of coverage was the first corny dog contest that I won.
How big were those things? Because you ate, what, 12 of them?
Well, you know, the very first year, they were like cement. They deep fry them, they get them in there, and they're jumbo corny dogs.
I'd say like that.
Yeah, they're big corny
like
dogs.
That.
Right.
But the problem is, they let them sit for about an hour to an hour and a half before we even started eating them. And by then...
They were cement.
They were like cement. I mean, they just wouldn't go down. And so when people look at that 12, they say, well, that's not very good.
Right. I was thinking the same thing. I figured they must be super big or super hard.
And
well, they're Texas.
And then that was the only year the IFOCE had that contest. But the next year, they let me do it.
And I came in second.
And Carlene did it too. Manchetti came down. Joe Manchetti.
Right.
He thought he was
and Manchetti's a great eater. He's the top.
How do you know he thought that?
He thought he knew for sure he'd knock the woman off.
Listen,
No.
He admitted to me afterwards, I said, I bet I know why you came down here, because you saw my 12, and you said, that's nothing, I can do that.
Okay.
And he said, yeah, you're right.
He thought they were normal, corny dogs.
But the size wasn't why I only did 12, it was like, they were like cement.
So
well, the next year they were better. And I did 15 and a half, and Carlene did 14 and a half.
What did Joe do?
He did 11. Which is good. I mean, that's still a good number.
Yeah.
He finished third.
What am I to laugh?
But we got the round trip airfare. The two of us, you know, the top 2 get 2 round trip airfare tickets anywhere in the U.S. And then the 500.
Does that contest still take place today?
It still does. And
you know what kind of numbers people
I
are
won
putting
it
up?
the 3rd year in a row, and I did 18.
Wow, so you just kept getting better and
But
better.
then last year I wasn't able to do it.
Not IFOC.
George said, no, you can't do it.
Yeah.
And so I
Well,
respected
your money, you know.
You're
a money eater.
But you see, the blessing in disguise is that I did the crystal qualifying that day, and then I came back and did the jalapeno contest the following weekend. So if I had to do a crystal qualifier that day, I wouldn't have done the jalapeno contest. So it all worked out.
It did work out. It happened like that for a reason.
And that was my biggest win, of course, beating Sonya and Pat, two of the greatest.
That blew so many people out the water. I mean, that was the last thing anybody would expect to see in the contest. And you know, they were trying their best, and you were too, and you were just on fire that day.
I think all three of us did extremely well that day. It's just that I was in a perfect rhythm, and everything was in conjunction. My hands were, and my swallowing everything was just perfect.
That was 8 minutes, wasn't
it? I took little sips of chocolate milk at the right time, and I didn't make any mistakes. That's why I was able to win.
Yeah, I think every time they announce that title at a contest, when they're introducing you, you always get some type of noise from the crowd, like. Ooh,
sometimes they overlook that.
Everybody will they turns their head and they really take a second look at you, you know.
Yeah, but if I'm not mistaken,
like, what's this guy made of?
But if I'm not mistaken, it was not mentioned at Coney Island, was it?
No. In
Not
fact, a lot of times I've been introduced.
Well, the thing that gets me is whenever they introduce Rich at a contest, especially the ones on TV, they're like, champion of the world, Coney Dog, champion of the world, Brother Key, champion of the world, his family, champion of the world, Chili, champion, kids keep going on title after title after day. He says it really fast. You know, Rich says them really fast, and I'm like, that's hilarious to me because he just keeps going on and on and on, and then you come out, and people aren't expecting to see this little old guy come out, you know, after he's announcing all these titles.
Little old guy,
you know.
Shame on you. And then he raises his shirt and shows his wonderful abs.
Oh, that got a roar from everyone.
My idea.
The funny thing is, when Bob did that, it was silent, but when Rich did it, everybody went crazy.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
Bob just sort of patted it.
Rich is like flexing his abs, you know, his six-pack on there.
I was just showing people I was ready to eat.
You were on E, huh?
I just couldn't eat fast enough.
It was empty.
But I will say one thing about Coney Island, though. You know, I had fun. But I went to Carmine the day before. I went to Carnegie Deli the day before that, and we ate some pretty big meals there. So I can't honestly say I was fully prepared to go all out.
Yeah, I think you know the outcome.
Yeah, I knew I wasn't going to win. I knew I wasn't going to place in the top 5, so I was just going to have fun.
Do you think if you had an hour, you could eat 66 hot dogs and buns, Nathan's?
No, I don't think I could do 66.
Come on, you don't think you could do 66?
No, I could do over 50. I could maybe do 53 or 4, 55 tops, I'd say.
Really?
But I don't think I could do 66.
Why not?
I don't have that big a capacity.
I don't know, but I bet you some out there would disagree with that.
Because I drink a lot of water and I drink a lot of liquid. When I eat at a buffet, I always drink about 6 or 7 glasses of Diet Coke. And that takes up a lot of weight, about 5 pounds of weight, because I don't like to eat just food, because then, you know, I'm too uncomfortable.
Anybody watching the show, find Rich on MySpace if you're ever going to come out to Vegas, and invite him to a buffet.
Yeah.
And you will see what this man can do.
It's a different kind of eating altogether. I mean, really.
You have never seen anything like this. And I mean, unless you go to a buffet with, you know, any of the other top 10 eaters in the world, you have not seen anything like this. It's something you have to witness firsthand. I mean, people are coming up to him, and strangers, you're not going to eat all that. You're going to eat all that? Like, people are coming, doing the buffet, leaving, he's still there eating. They come, they go, they leave, you're still there. You know, it's like, it's never ending. Now, when I hear the name Locust, people say they call you that because of the way your eating style, the way you move your hands.
Well, the way I hunched over when I'm eating, too. Like, the very first contest I was ever in was a hot dog contest in Las Vegas in 2002, the qualifier. And I didn't know better, you know. I saw a plate of hot dogs, and it was way down here, and I was standing way up here. So I figured the quickest way to do it would be to just eat it right near the plate, where I'd have my mouth only a couple inches from the plate, rather than stand up. And I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't separate the buns from the dogs from the buns, and I didn't dip it in water. I just ate them pretty much picnic style, and I did 20.
First time ever.
Very first time. So, and I didn't know what I was going to do.
Who was the MC?
George.
George was?
Yeah, George came the first 3.
What kind of reaction did you get from him?
Well, he was pretty impressed.
You didn't expect
I mean, it's not every day. And then back in those days when not too many people were doing 20. And so that
That
was
was
a
the
pretty
start
good,
of the
that was a good
Federation.
number for, in 2002.
Yeah, he didn't even know what he was doing.
Yeah. And so I improved to 4.5 at Coney that year. And then,
And even to this day, you keep improving.
well, I keep getting better
little by
because
little.
I don't do it at home. I figured that it wouldn't do me any good to do it at home because I'm a very competitive person and I will always do better in a competition than I would in a practice. So there's no point in wasting time doing it at home. And I know I'm not going to do 50 or 60. You know, I'm just going to do 30, 35 maybe. Maybe I can get up to 37.
And he's still having fun and he won't burn out.
Yeah,
so.
that's why I'm still doing this because I don't train. And that's why I'm able at 63 to be able to still eat competitively.
Yeah, you still
Because
put
I'm not
up big
burning out.
numbers.
I'm having fun, and I'm not going to take it seriously. There are a couple eaters that are really unhappy when they don't do well. Well, I want to do well, but I'm not going to blow my brains out if I don't.
Now, what is your prediction for the Crystal Circuit this year? What do you think? What do you see like 120?
I think both Kobe and Joey will be well over 100. In fact, I think Pat will probably be close to 100. Because those guys are going to probably get White Castles and practice a lot at home. And they'll know going in how many they can do.
Yeah,
I won't know until I do my first 2-minute qualifier how I'm going to do.
I tried White Castle. Those things are nasty. I mean, I don't know. I ate about a 6-pack. I ate 6 of them in 40 seconds. They were disgusting. I mean, I wanted to throw up. I don't know if crystals are a little bit better.
I think crystals are better
Yeah.
than the White Castles, or at least
Yeah.
the ones you would buy in the store and cook at home.
Yeah, somebody said there's a reason they call them sliders.
Yeah, but the
And
crystals
I
are good.
have to agree with that reason.
The crystals are pretty good hamburgers, and as long as they're fresh and they don't sit around too long, they're very good.
I think the meatball contest, that pretty much, I mean, that proved that you belong where you are.
Well,
you know, if anybody to do over 8 to 10 pounds of meatballs, you're in a whole league of your own.
Yeah,
Because it kind of drops off after 8.
That was
Not by
right around
much.
9, and Bob Schelt won with just under 10. So we had like 6 eaters within 1 pound of one another. And, you know, Sonia and Joey and
It would have been interesting
Chip.
if Kobe had been there, what he would have done.
You know, it's hard to say, but he probably would have done 11 or 12 pounds. That's my guess. 12 pounds, probably. That's just my
Crazy Leg says it best. He has an endless capacity.
But I think Joey would do 12 pounds now. I mean, I think
If he trained hard, he would do 12
He
pounds.
trained so hard with hot dogs, so he got so great with hot dogs, so he beat me by a 2-to-1 margin in those. But nothing else. I mean, you know, he has to train with something to get that good. And he'll do it with crystals, too, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think with the brats, it's hard to train with them because you can't prepare them like they prepare them. The process is too lengthy.
The more he trains,
They put them in
the
beer, they
better he
bake
does,
them, and they
that's the
grill
way it is
them.
with anybody, really. Yeah, it's kind of hard to train with those at home.
Yeah, that's a contest that's going to be missed. I mean, there's the only time I'll probably ever be on TV my entire life.
That was a fun contest.
It was a lot of
They had
fun
you
being there.
too,
It was
coming down the hills.
the only
going.
time I felt like a celebrity. I signed so many autographs, and you know,
Well, you're
It didn't matter how many brats I ate.
Yeah,
it was
you were
just,
very popular, too. I mean, you know, everybody loved you.
Yeah,
And that's
they
the way
just
it
hey,
should be.
there's a Toro.
I
People
remember
say that,
seeing you running down the hill looking like you were
Like a madman.
deranged.
It was great. I mean, it was good theater, really good theater.
Yeah, it was a good time there. Sheboygan.
So I was unhappy to see that they were doing away with that one too.
Yeah, I think too many people were complaining and
Yeah.
saying that it's bad for American society or gluttony, whatever you want to call
Well,
it.
they need to lighten up a little bit. You know, we're always hearing these negative people talking about competitive eating, but there are a lot worse things going on in the world than competitive
And a
eating.
lot of it is for charity.
Yeah, that's the thing that people don't understand. That a lot of money does go into charities from the organization. So.
Yeah, some eaters have donated some other.
Well, Joey Chestnut donated half of his entire winnings on a contest, a waffle eating contest. He won $5,000. He donated $2,500.
To Katrina, right?
Those are things, yeah. So that's the things people don't realize. I donated money to things, and a lot of eaters have.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's not something that you want to make public, but I mean, we just do it.
Yeah, I mean, if you look, you really can't. Why aren't people knocking like boxing or hockey? Those are violent sports.
I mean, there are a lot of immoral things going on in the world. I mean, and there are a lot of people that are doing worse things than competitive eating.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know why some people pick on us, as being a degrading society or something. I mean, we're just having fun.
Now,
I mean,
all
it's
the
entertainment.
eaters are clean cut. We all love each other. Everybody kids each other, trash talks good-naturedly.
Yeah, we're in good shape. I mean, and we know how to take care of ourselves. We know how to eat when we're not competing. And look at Tim. I mean, look at some of these young guys that train you. I mean, you know, you're in good shape. I mean, you know, it's not like it used to be in competitive eating, where everybody was just a great big guy, and of course they could eat. I mean, people wouldn't be too surprised to see Cookie or Booker put down 10 pounds of food. I mean, that's not unusual, but when you see Kobayashi do it, or Sonya, or me at my age, or anybody, you know, it's more impressive, really. And it's the whole face of competitive eating has changed in the last 3 or 4 years.
I'd say it's the fastest growing sport.
Well, I think Joey has a lot to do with that, too, because he came in with the commitment to improve. I remember Joey saying after the first contest at Nathan's, when he did 32 hot dogs in 2005, he said, well, I'm going to win it next year. So I knew that he was committed to doing it.
And he improved
I didn't
by
believe
what,
him.
18?
Yeah.
He didn't know he improved by 20.
I didn't, well, 18. In the first, when he did the qualifier, and then he did 2 more in the finals to do 52, yeah. And then this year, 66. I mean, so he was committed. And he's got Pat committed, and got Chip committed, and Bob, and Tim, and the other guys.
Now, I want to ask you this. What did you think when he beat you in the asparagus contest? Because what were you ranked at the time?
Well, when he beat me in the asparagus contest, there were all kinds of discrepancies going on. I'm not saying he didn't beat me, but each plate weighed a pound, and I had 1 asparagus left on my 6th plate.
Okay.
And I didn't even know until they announced it that they said Joey won. They said he ate 5.3 pounds of asparagus. And I said, well, I ate 5.85 or 5.9. I only had 1 asparagus left. But the lady wrote it down wrong. She went around and she's putting numbers down. She wrote down 5.2.
And she wrote mine incorrectly,
She wrote
too.
Carlene's down at 4.1, and she ate 4.9.
Who was this girl? Did she work for the Federation?
She worked for the Asparagus Festival,
Oh.
and she didn't know what she was doing.
So this airhead wrote down the
So
wrong
I was upset when the announcement came out that I finished second. I said, wait, my judge will confirm that I ate almost 6 pounds. I only had 1 asparagus left,
right.
1 spear. And Joey had a whole bunch left. But then
on his 6th plate.
But then his judge said, well, he was on his 7th plate, not his 6th plate. And I said, well, where is it? There are only 5 plates there.
Right.
What happened to the other one?
And what
And they didn't know. So there was a lot of confusion going on. And Ryan came up to me and said, what do you want to do, Rich? I mean, you know, I'll announce you the winner if you want. And I said, well, you know, I don't want people to go home dissatisfied, you know. And you already said that Joey won, so I didn't know this guy, you know. He was in a lobster contest that I won a couple months earlier. And I figured, well, okay, well, I'll do an overtime with him.
Okay.
No problem. I mean, who is this guy anyway? So I won't have any trouble beating him in overtime. I mean, you know, he's probably full, you know. And so let's get it on, you know. I could have said, yes, I won, that's it, and end of story. But I said, no, we'll do an overtime, because I wanted to kick his butt. You know? And I figured he's just a young guy, he's not going to beat me. So I was confident, and then lo and behold, I see the guy inhaling him in overtime, and I couldn't keep up with him. I had a couple of spears left when he finished. So he beat me fair and square in the overtime. So he beat me. I mean, you know, I don't know if the totals were wrong.
That was only his 2nd contest, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was his 2nd contest. I beat him in the lobster contest, but he did very well. And I knew right
I
then.
mean, going home, what were you thinking on the way home? Like,
Well, I
this
was
guy
upset.
isn't ranked. What were you ranked at the time? 3 years.
I was ranked 3rd in the world.
Wow. Right? For somebody to come out, it'd be like some guy, unknown, to enter a contest and beat Bertoletti.
Well, I'd never lost to an unranked eater before.
That was the first
In fact, I had
time.
a good winning streak going against all the top eaters.
Little did you know at the time that unknown guy that beat you was the greatest American
of all
eater
time
to ever live.
That's right. But I didn't know that at the time.
You didn't know that. So
I just
it
figured
had to be hard
I'll
for
beat
you
him in
to take
overtime,
that
you know.
loss.
I'm not going to have a problem beating him in overtime.
But
But then I was shocked. And so then I was upset, but because I thought if I had just said that was it, then I would have won. But he beat me fair and square in the overtime.
And when did you face him again after that contest?
Well, I faced him in a Vienna sausage contest, and I beat him in that. I finished 2nd to Sonya. She ate about 8.5 pounds, I ate about 8 pounds. And he was well behind. He ate about 6. So I found out since then that he doesn't like the sauce.
Yeah.
But
Why have times changed?
I whipped him in that, and he beat me at Nathan's, of course. He did 32. And I'm still trying to reach my peak in that. But then after that, I didn't beat him again until the Big Daddy contest last year. That was the last time I beat him. I know probably the only time I beat him, unless he has an accident or is in a contest where the food doesn't agree with him.
Yeah, that was funny. Me and my buddy were talking to Sony after that contest, and my buddy, we were talking to her about some of her titles. And my friend asked her, you know, he's a fisherman guy, you know, so he asked her about the oysters. He's like, so what happens after you eat, 580 something oysters? You just poo it out? And she's like, oh no, diarrhea. That's exactly what she said. And she said, when they come out, it smells like seawater. And the way she said seawater, I had to walk away, and I fell to my knees and just died laughing. It was hilarious, and I kept saying seawater, like for like months after.
I never heard that story. I love it.
It's one of the best. She didn't know who I was. That was nobody, at that time. A lot of people don't know this either. It was like the week right after the grilled cheese contest. I was walking through Mandalay Bay, and lo and behold, I see Sonia playing blackjack. And I say, what? So I walk, I go, hey. She goes, hey. And we were talking, and everything was cool. But as soon as I brought up, I said, what happened at the grilled cheese? She goes, oh, no. And the conversation stopped. No more talking to me.
So I was
like, all right. See, I just kind of said bye to Hank. I think she was with a guy called Hank. And a guy named Hank. And I just said, all right, see ya. I just walked away. She ignored me. And I think she went like later, and I left.
You know Hank. Hank's the best guy in the world.
Somebody was saying they think he may be posting all this stuff on eFeeds. Like he has I think it's possible he may be Luther of all people.
Really?
Yeah, there's a, and I posted something about that on eFeeds, and OJ Rifkin deleted it. And I was thinking, OJ must have something secret, He knows it might be Hank, but he says some things to degrade Sonia on the website to make it think like it's not him. But I really think that it's about a 90% chance it could be him. That's just speculation from what I've heard from some people, and
But Hank's one of these guys, he stands around, and yes, he gets Sonia everything she needs, but he's got a really great mind, because he'll just, he'll look at me, and I would never dream of asking anybody, I'm thirsty, could you get me some water, unless it's rich. But I don't do that, I don't want to bother people. But he'll look at me, and he'll run and get whatever I need, and I haven't asked. He just knows. He's one, I love him.
Yeah, he seemed like a nice guy.
He's very nice.
He is.
Well, everybody, I think we're going to wrap it up. I mean, we could talk for hours.
Well, Carlene, you could talk for hours.
Toro, this has been so much fun. You're a great interviewer.
Yeah, you are. You're terrific.
Yeah,
we've had a lot of
fun.
fun.
I'll be back. We're going to do another watermelon contest, and I'll tell you, I'm going to come back looking for revenge with a vengeance.
I was the cameraman, so if it's not perfect, it's my fault.
Yeah, it was fun. And you were listening to Pantera. Don't you guys love Pantera?
Yes. Definitely.
Everybody, it's been great. Thank you for watching the show.
Bye.
Until next time.